Well, it is, what is it? It's Monday something, and we've got the Dukase case by DeepCool, and we've also got the Captain 120EX water cooling unit, and this works at AMD 4, and obviously all the new Intel CPUs, as well as the old ones, and as well as the new AMD as well. And it's got white LED light, and it's glass tubing for the water cooling. It looks really quite cool, and we're going to plug this all in. But we're taking this case, getting all the stuff out of that, taking the old DeepCool off CPU cooler off the motherboard, and we're going to stick everything in here. Now, in this case, is quite the case. I don't like acrylics, like case doors. I really don't like them at all. We've got no captive screws, so we just got screws we're going to undo here. We're going to build this case right on this desk as well. The acrylic, wow, okay, what can you say about acrylic? It's been going for years, and it's not bad, it looks pretty good quality. The paint job's great quality. They've painted really nice inside the case as well. That looks good. They've added, looks like an LED fan on the side there, but no more LED fans. We've got a Molex connector, USB 3, 2 USB 2s, more Molex connectors. I would like to see SATA connectors as it's smaller. We've got an old school DVD support for DVD rewriters and stuff like that if you've got them. And this is for mini ITX and normal, not normal ATX, but what's the ones? Mini ITX and micro ATX motherboards. This fits, in which I've got in there. It's got room for two 120s at the top there. But let's get into the case a little bit more and have a look. So, looking on the front, it's really quite a little delicious looking case, to be honest with you. It's got the DeepCool logo on the side here, with this brush sort of plastic with white metallic built into the actual front of the case. It's got air vents on the side. Not hugely massive, but it's enough airflow to go through the case. And it's got no airflow on the side here, but it should, well, it doesn't actually. Right, so I haven't got much airflow on it, unless I pulled the front. Oh, there we go, that's it. I remember now. So on the front, it's got magnets, and then it's got your DVD support drives, which is your 5.25 inch slots. And then it's got a massive grill there to like produce air, or actually intake cool air from the front. And when you close the front, obviously it restricts it, and it will only be able to exhaust or take in a little bit of cool air on the side. As I said, no captive screws. Would like to see captive screws on the side. The paint job's not too bad, but normally on white cases you do get these little bits of scratches on there, but it's not too bad. It's just your standard white case. No padding, not really much on flex. Oh god, I thought I nearly snapped it then. It's pretty tough. That's really quite solid metal there. You got two 3.5 inch hard drive slots here, and you should be able to get your mechanical hard drive and stick it into the bottom there. These slide out. These are metal, and they've got rubber absorption or absorption. I can't remember what the word is, but anyway, it's got that, and makes it so mechanical hard drives are on there. Any vibrations, it's going to make sure it keeps everything nice and quiet. You know, painted in there, and it looks pretty nice. I'm sliding it in and out. After a while, you probably might see a few scratches on there, but once you put your mechanical hard drive in there, you put it in there, so it doesn't really matter about that. You can put an SSD here, and then you've got your AIO cut out of the back there. But as you can see, you've got like literally a finger width of cable management, and the cables I've got here, especially with a USB 3, it's going to make this quite difficult for me, I reckon, to make this look tidy. Let's pull this through. So if I was to like get my cables and put them all nice and flat on there, it has got some flat cables, but there's got some round ones which are obviously for the USB 3 and the USB 2s. It's going to bulk it out unless I flatten it down. So it's not too bad. You can get your power supply in there, normal standard ATX, and you've got more room. And you can also slide this back and forwards as well for your hard drives. And it's got an I don't know how to get this off the top, to be honest with you. But unless it doesn't come off. Oh yes, it does. Excellent. Oh, I've worked it out now. So you've got no filter there, but it's got this nice little metallic white like accent thing to go on the top to make it look pretty cool. You do have like a little breathable hole space at the top, so you can put two 120s at the top there, and keep your you can do your water cooling in the front there. One thing I did notice as well in this case is that it does have an even smaller drive bay, like to put in, I swear, like floppy disks or something. I don't really know what that is, but 2018, I don't know what that is. It better not be that. Anyway, let's look inside the case like so. So if we look at the case like this, you can see that you can got enough room to put your power supply in there. Let me lift it up. So you should have enough room in there. Like normally on the case you don't. On the bottom, as I said, you can slide backwards and forwards for your drive bay, which is no problem whatsoever. The shroud is completely covering the power supply, and then you've got these bits here to put your two SSDs on if you want to show them off. And then you just got nice little cutouts everywhere and pass-throughs, but no rubber grommets. You've got these as well, which is not too hard to undo. So you've got 7 expansion slots, and you could just chuck them away because don't really need to use them. I'm gonna screw this one back in there. Get in there. Right, so underneath as well, you got some feet so it doesn't scratch the desk, and you got a little filter. I would have liked to have seen a better filter on there, but at least it has got a filter for the power supply. And then it's got the old school water cooling pass-throughs you want to do external, which I'm not going to want to. So on the top you've got a microphone jack, headphone jack, USB 2, USB 3, power button, reset button, and a fan controller that goes into 3 increments. But this case was just something that I could use with obviously the Captain 120EX, because I think it's quite a nice looking AIO compared to many of them, but it's AM4 ready, so if you're into Ryzen and stuff, we can go with that. So let's get on with taking this apart and taking that stuff out and putting it in there. I want to see how easy it's going to be.
Like this, don't know what happened to you. Put my trust in you, guess that I couldn't do that. Oh, but I know now, shouldn't trust a word that comes out of your mouth. I was kidding myself, why did you have to turn into a liar? Now you're gone, ran away from me, leaving me on my own. Can't you see, you had my heart. Into a liar, into a liar. Why did you have to turn into a liar? Into a liar.
Again and again, I could never let you go. biscuit every time I look at you. You pull me back into your river, swim a little deeper. I don't need to breathe with my head underwater. Underwater.
So I built into the computer. The case is not so bad. I actually do like the case, but it's got its limitations. Not too many limitations, but the fact is that this comes with USB 3 and it's also got a USB 2 connected, and it's so short that where am I meant to be able to hide it? I'll have to just cut it off. But people that are not very not tech savvy, but not computer savvy, that's just the wrong word. People that deal with like this stuff on an everyday basis won't know what to do with that. So DeepCool, you need to obviously make this longer so you can hide it in the back, or don't add it to the USB 3. The cables could be braided, because they're braided down here, like not braided, but they're nicely covered up. You don't see all these like spaghetti colours everywhere, and it goes straight into the motherboard. On the CPU water block, well, just the whole thing, it felt a little bit awkward to get in there. It's a really tight squeeze, and I think it's a tight squeeze because the way they've made it. But you've got nice clearance for your RAM, which I like, and the VRMs and the MOSFETs are all nicely away. And to be honest with it, it's really freaking easy to put together. It's like one of the easiest water cooling AIOs I've ever put together. The only thing is that everything is just really tight, so you don't think it goes in. Now if you just move it a little bit, it will slide in, but it's so easy to put together. You put the hex screws onto the back of the IO bracket, and then you've got 4 screws, and then you've got 2 holes, I think 4 holes, and you also got 4 holes and 2 half cut holes where you can with a motherboard it's got normally 2 screws and 1 screw there, or it's got 4 depending on what motherboard socket it is. And they made it really quite easy. So you got 4 hex screws, stick them in, because I'm using an Intel CPU, and 4 holes there, making everything like work. And then I've just realised I've got it plugged in. I've got to be careful, I don't try and blow myself up. Anyway, you also got 4 screws that go onto the base, so you put your 4 screws in and it fits really nice and clean. It feels premium. And then you get the bolts, and you can just spin them and they spin on. It only took about 3-4 seconds to put them all on, and then you put these plates over the top, and then you just secure it on, and then you put these 4 screws on. Now this is why I thought this was quite easy, because I just like the fact of how the screws just fitted straight onto the plate, and it was just really nice. My only gripe is that the cable that's for the pump is really short. They should have made it longer, even though it's nicely braided. As you can see, the cables from the actual fan as well, it's got nice little shock absorbers on the actual rubber. So it means that all the fan vibration won't be obviously making any vibrations and noises and stuff. The fans are nicely like cut and slit to produce like dissipation of heat and produce it at the back. I like that. I like the aesthetics that it's black and white, and it goes well with this. This obviously lights up black and white, which I'm going to turn it on for you now. In the case, you've got a blue LED light that comes with the case. So just taking it from the back, and I'll put it at the top so I can exhaust the MOSFETs and VRMs. And if I had a graphics card or any heat, the heat rises, it can go straight to the top. You definitely can put 240 AIO water cooling unit in there, would look pretty nice. Just a little bit like wondering how this would fit in this case with a graphics card, because a graphics card, it make this quite awkward. Obviously I could push it up and stuff like that, but depends on your graphics card. So if you're going to go with this case or this AIO, I would obviously opt to the 240 if they've got that, and make sure that you've got the tubes long enough. So just measure the tubing. So the tubing I reckon I've got here is probably must be about 18 to 20 centimeters long, which other AIOs are normally much longer, but it's just really nice how it catches the light and it looks good. And these move around as well, so it makes it a little bit more flexible. Plus you've got clearance for your RAM. You've got a nice little LED light flashing on and off, not like really going crazy. This is glass and not acrylic, and that's where your coolant's going in. And you've got, I could feel like it's got a little fan in it or something, but it hasn't. But it just looks nice. It's just the whole display of it looks really nice. Cables, just using the normal like cables that you get with a power supply, no extensions or anything like that, just to show like it's worth and showing you how long the cables are to reach different places with the case. So if I turn it around really carefully, You've got enough room to put in 2 mechanical hard drives and feed them in, because you've got about that much clearance to put in the SATA connections and eSATA power as well. And you also got all the power supply cables on a normal standard power supply. This is a 700 watt one, and you can literally just tuck all the cables in and don't really need to worry about it. But as I said, there's not a lot of room for cable management. There's an EPS connector, and it's like tucked into the side there, and a couple more cables flowing down. And obviously with the case itself, it's a little bit awkward to use a SATA cable, which I did have earlier, but I don't know where it is now. But I had to open up another packet and get 2 slim SATA connections, so I can connect it straight into the motherboard and straight to the SSD on the front. As you can see, these cables are hanging out, so it makes it a little bit awkward how I'm going to get this into the case without pulling cables out, but it might be okay. And let's have a look at the front. Anything going on the front? Nothing really. Can feel a little breeze, nothing major. It's not too bad. Does look pretty cool though. It's got a little bit of plastic tassels on there, nothing major. Does look okay. I do actually like the case. I think it's quite a good looking case after all. I thought it was not going to be the type of case I want to build in, but yeah, I've just do you know what, it was actually quite quick. Even though I had those sort of problems, it was actually quite quick to build in. You can obviously put another SSD there, you can have your cables routed down there, but it depends on how big your power supply is. Now, I've got a mediocre sized power supply, so if you're going for a bigger power supply, you're going to have to be wary that your probably cables won't fit in there. But to be honest with you, my medium power supply fits, so I could definitely have the cables and route them through. Plus, you do have about a centimetre of width right underneath to pass the cables through. It'll be quite tight, but it can still go through there. And this is what I was saying with obviously the SATA connection. It'll be quite a bit of a mission to put that in there, but it's no problem whatsoever. And the cables just look a bit messy, but overall, if you want an older school case with a new modern sort of look and a nice paint job with a stroud and everything like that, it's not too bad. It's not bad at all. And the AIO, which we're going to obviously test and see what temperatures we're going to get, is I'm running a 6700K processor in there, and we want to see how well it does with connecting obviously an AIO, which is a single 120 on the back there. Don't think I know. I didn't connect the fan controller at the front, but obviously you've got a fan controller, you can't have as much control as what you have in the BIOS and stuff like that, so that's what I'm going to go with. But I've got to put this top back on, which is quite heavy, and then we test the computer and see how well it does. Just a note, this was actually quite easy to put the side on. I didn't realise it did have an extra width, so you got near enough 2.5 centimeters of this estate right here to put your cables. So if you've got your 24 pin, your EPS connector is going to be here, and all your other cables going to be routed around here. It doesn't do too bad. It is pretty cool. Right, so just to finish this review real quick, this is a nice case. I didn't like it at first, but I actually think it's okay. It uses the old school with the new school, but it's got acrylic, but the acrylic's really nicely reflective, and it looks like you can see everything in the case, and it's just nice. It's not really hard to build into it. It was pretty easy. The case is at £56 4p at the time of this video, which is the 26th of March 2018, and that's not bad. You're gonna obviously have a lot of different comparisons with other case manufacturers like Corsair, Thermaltake, Fractal Design, all those sort of companies with that sort of thing. But I did say earlier that you can only put a mini and a micro ATX motherboard in there, but you can actually put a normal size ATX motherboard in this case, and you can put a 280 water cooling unit, or two 140s, or two 120s, or a 240 AIO cooler, 120 on the back, and not a 140 on the back. Oh, can you get 140 on the back? Oh, you can get a 140 on the back as well, so that's pretty cool. 140, 120, and you can get, if you take this out, I guess you can probably get that in there as well for your two fans. I haven't got no fans at the intake. I actually forgot to actually take the front off to go and have a look to see how many fans I can put in there. But anyway, I do know you can put fans in the front. I just don't know what size. Do you know what? I'm here. Let me have a look quickly just to make sense of things. Right, at the front you can put two 120mm fans or one 140mm fan. At least you know. At the top you can put in two 120s and two 140s, 120, 240, 140 and 280mm cooler, liquid cooler. And this is not going to be great for water cooling with a normal radio or anything like that, because it's going to be a little bit more of a tighter squeeze, because if you've got this as well, which is pop riveted in. But other than that, it's a really nice case. And the water cooling unit, so what did we say, this was 5604 at the time of this video, and the water cooling unit, which has got a glass tube in, and that is $59.99 for a single like 120, which is quite pricey. It's in the premium range, but when you hold it and you feel it, it's quite premium. And let's talk about premium. At the moment, if you look on the video while I'm still talking, there should be a clip of me talking about, well, just obviously showing the temperatures of the CPU AIO. I'm just going to open up like what it is now, because this computer's been on for hours. So if I go into system stability, right, maximum measured temperature was 81 degrees. There was no throttling at all though on the CPU, but there's only one. It's not even turned up. I just literally, it comes with one fan, I put it on, and that's how I've done it. Normally you have fans everywhere to make sure it's nice and cool, and for a 6700K you're going to probably need it to be running a little bit cooler, but it's super quiet. But yeah, it went up to what I could see, it had averages of about 59, 60, 66, and then the top one being 75, and what we got here is 81 degrees. Anyway, that's the last bit of the video. That's all I wanted to make sure that you knew about. Any questions, leave them down in the comments down below, and I'll subscribe, share, and all that sort of stuff. And I'll see you next one. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, links in the description down below where you want to buy these products. Thanks for watching. Peace.